This is part 3 of a 3-part course in building your Canvas course. We're going to look at how to do some things with the gradebook and grading. We'll look at how to build a course homepage to make your course very inviting. And last, we're going to actually pull in from Commons the course template. Now realize that's a step that you don't have to do. You could actually put a help desk ticket in or contact odl@cn.edu. Either way, we'll be glad to help you out putting that template in your course. It is suggested that the template go in before you set up your course rather than last. But let's get started. We'll go into Food 101 Island Cooking. And we've been busy building our course. We put in some pages in our welcome modules. We've got some discussions in here, a couple of assignments, and even a quiz. Let's take a look at how to grade some of these. I've gone in as in the student view and completed some of these assignments as the student, as the test student in this course. And the way you do that is you just go to student view, and you can, if it's open and available, go ahead and select it. If you haven't published it, you're not going to be able to test it, but you would just go ahead and select it and submit it just as if you would a student. If it was a discussion, you're going to go in here and hit reply and do just that, reply. I'm going to leave the student view because, as I said, I've gone through and done a couple of these. So let's go in and see how we grade some of them. I want to grade week 1 discussion, the Virgin Island culture. I can select it here. I could have selected it from the gradebook. There's several different ways you can select it. You don't select it over here. Okay, this is just for building your course. So I'm going to go right into the discussion, and I see that the student has replied. If I want to grade, though, all the students at once, and I want to make sure I'm seeing all of their posts, I'm going to come up here to the 3 buttons, and I'm going to select the speed grader. And you'll notice that I'm seeing test student, and there's a little arrow over here on the right side, and I see that this person has no submission yet, and I can just keep scrolling through. It'll eventually take me back to the test student. That's how SpeedGrader is going to work for all of your assignments. Now I can just go ahead and put the grade in here, and I can add any comments here. I could attach a file. Maybe I want to send some more information to the student. But you know what's really nice and personal is adding a media comment. Okay, you can record it right here, or an audible speech comment. The one thing about being online is there's a lot of reading to do, so the most use of video and audio that you can put in, the better. Once you have graded something, I'm going to give this student actually a 45 because while it was well, I know a lot of it was plagiarized. I'm going to give a 45. I don't have to save, but I do have to click away from that so it saves automatically. Okay, the submit is for submitting your comments. To get back to the actual course, it's a little bit tricky. There's not a lot of breadcrumbs here. You actually have to go back to the gradebook itself. And now once I'm back in a gradebook, I still don't have my navigation, but I can get back to the full modules and everything by now following the breadcrumbs. Let's take a look at if we had put a rubric on that discussion. and how we would have graded it with the rubric. So I'm going to go into the discussion and I'm going to add the rubric here. And I can build my own rubric. These aren't hard to build. You just hit the plus sign if you want more than a high and a low. And do you want a range within those different criterias? I've already got several created, so I'm going to find a rubric. And you'll notice that Carson Newman has 4 rubrics available. So I'm going to select the Carson Newman rubrics, and there's a 40-point rubric and 40-point discussion rubric, and there's a 100-point one. So I want to select the 100-point one, and I want to use this rubric. It shows the rubric when you're in a discussion here to you. However, it doesn't show it to the students, which I think is a pretty poor detail. But I'm going to go ahead and go out of that, and let's go back to the grade book now. And the week 1 discussion, like I said, you can go into it to grade it, or you can grade it from the grade book. I'm going to select my speed grader using those 3 little dots and selecting it here. You'll notice that this time it skips over the test student because we've already graded him. But if I want to go back and regrade him now using the rubric, I can do that. And I'm just going to select View Rubric. I want to avoid these 3 little dots that are here in between, because what that'll do is either close the left part of the screen or close the right part of the screen. What I actually want to do is have the little hand turn on here, and I can drag it so I can view the whole rubric. And now I can grade in a couple of different ways. If I decide that the original post was excellent, I can go ahead and put a 50 in here, and it's going to select which box that was from. If I select the box itself, it gives the full grade. Okay, if this outcome quality post 2 was really not so good and I only give a 3, it shows that it's in this box. Okay, so anything that's deviating from the highest number, you have to actually enter in here, over here on the side. And then last, I'll give a spelling grade. Now you would think, and this is crazy, you would think that by hitting save, it would change the grade, but it doesn't. All it does is it shows a different rating. You have to actually take the number of points that is here and enter it in the box here. So I'm going to put in a 73 and click away, and I get the number of the percentage. Okay, so rubrics are a little bit different. They aren't quite as intuitive. Let's go back to the grade book. And from here, let's just go ahead and grade our first essay. And if it needs grading, if somebody's submitted something, you'll have a little icon here, and I can click right on this, but I get in the habit of using the speed grader. It's much more efficient. This was a submitted Word document by the student, and you can go through it and mark it up. I can highlight, make my comments. I can use a little pen here and do some circling, or I can just write some text wherever I'm at. Okay, so there's several different things that you can do there. Now, I think the reason there's so many tools is most of these tools will work wonderfully when it comes to Word. If you're having them submit, let's say, a PowerPoint, you may want to use a different tool. If they are submitting in PDF, I've noticed that the highlighting doesn't work, but the drawing and the text does. So you'll just decide from there. Now, this one didn't have a rubric with it. And so again, I can just give it a grade. And it verifies that the grade is in there. One last grade that we want to look at is, what does a quiz grade look like? Now you'll recall that our quiz, our knife skills test that we put together the other day, had mostly multiple choice, but it also had an essay question in it. So we do need to go in and do the grading. If I select right on there, I would put a grade in manually. I see that so far this student has a 26 out of a possible 37 for this exam. And if I select the arrow, it pulls up some more information about this particular student and his exam. And I would be able to see right now, is it missing, is it late, what's going on. I can leave comments here, but what's nice is I can go right into SpeedGrader here as well. So there's several ways to get to the same thing. And it says the following questions need review. So question 2 was the one that was the essay question. So I would want to read it, and then here was the essay answer, and that's not so great. So I'm only going to give him a 0.5. Okay, you don't even have to give the full credit. And instead of just clicking away, you do have to hit a complete enter key for that to resolve itself. And once it does, you'll notice that the grade does change to he has now a 26.5 for his quiz. So grading is pretty simple. You'll be using the SpeedGrader almost all the time. Like I said, you can come in and grade manually if that works for you as well. Make sure that you explore this screen because there's a lot of information that's your choice. Things like view, if you have unpublished assignments, do you want to see them in your grade book or not? If not, you would just uncheck that. There's different filters. There's good actions. You always want to get in the habit of exporting your grade book a couple of times a semester in the event that the systems aren't available when it comes midterm or final grading time for whatever reason. And then over here on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see a settings. You can at a certain point say, okay, automatically grade any missing submissions with a 0. Okay, that's especially useful at midterm and at final so that you're getting accurate grades. You can have a grade posting policy where possibly you don't want your grades posted until you tell them to be posted to the students. The reason being, you may have, if you're in a writing intensive course where you have a lot of reading to do, you may actually grade over several days, and it makes the students that you grade last very antsy for not getting their grade when they know that their course mates have gotten theirs. So like I said, there's quite a bit of things on this. Make sure that you explore grading. But let's move on. I really wanted to show you how to do a welcome page. And before I do that, let's go back to the dashboard and I'll show you what I mean by a welcome page. If I go into this Canvas training building a community course, taking a second to open, and I go into student view, this is the home page, and this, by the way, does use the course template that's available to all faculty while building their courses. It can be modified to suit your needs, but this is just using the basic template. You'll see that there's a nice welcome, and it even tells them where to start. We suggest that at least for the first couple of weeks, you leave up about your instructor, course overview and required materials, because these are the most important things that the students want to see to begin with. And then we've got start working here. And we've got some working with Canvas information, or let's say it is week 2 and they're ready to do week 2 module. When they select that, it jumps them right down to the week 2 module. So by having a welcome page, it just makes it so much more personal for you and your students. So we're going to go back to the dashboard and get into our island cooking class, and let's make a welcoming home page. Oops, I can't do it as the student. I have to leave the student view. Okay, now we're back at the dashboard and we'll go into island cooking. Creating a page is really easy. We don't need to do it within a module. Here is where we will use our pages link over here. When I select the pages link, there are the 2 pages that we've created previously, and we're just going to create a new page here. Now by now you should be able to be very familiar with creating pages because we're just using that rich text editor. So I am going to call it my welcome page, and I'll put a little message in here. You get the idea. You can put a little welcome message there. I think that this is a much better place for your weekly message to the students rather than using the course announcements. It gets them welcoming, coming in, looking at their course to begin with. Then we may want to put a little picture in there about our course. And so I'm going to go to images, and let's see, let's upload a new image. Choose a file, and I'm going to just select this culture pick, island. Remember, we have to put in some information here, and then it'll let us upload the image. So I've got a little image on my course. I'm going to have them start here. And then maybe every week I can have a new one. This week's lessons. So I've got the start here link, and I want that to link to a certain module. So I'm going to come over here to links and select modules, and I want it to go to week 1. And then maybe the following week I want it to go to week 2. That's entirely up to you how you do that, but you do want to help the students figure out where they need to go. And I want them to have access to the syllabus. And you'd be surprised at how many freshmen don't have a clue what a syllabus is. So you may want to put about this course. It really does make more sense to some of them. So here we're going to have a link to the syllabus, and I can upload the syllabus again, find it in my course home files, or I may want to link it over here to this link of the syllabus, and I'll explain that one in a second. But let's do that. Let's link it to that. That's a part of the course navigation. And then I might want to put some contact information, and give your phone number or your email or however you want the students to contact you. So I'm going to go ahead and save and publish this, and you understand that this could be a whole lot more elaborate than this is. You could have more pictures, you can link the pictures, you get as creative as you want here, but it's much more welcoming than this home page, right? Now when I selected home, why did it go back to modules? Well, we haven't told Canvas that we want that page that we just created to be the quote home page. And you have to do that in 2 spots. The first, you go right into Pages, and we want this to be our home page or our front page. So I'm going to select the More button and use as front page. Now what happens when you designate a front page is anytime you select pages, that's going to come up. Now think about that. If you want to change this information every week, then that's great. It comes up. You don't have to find it within a whole list of pages. If you want to get to all the pages, you would select the View All Pages. Okay, so making it the front page is part 1. Part 2 is done from the home link. On the right-hand side, you're going to choose a home page. And from here, I'm going to select from my front page and save. So now when the students go into the course, they're going to see that as their home page. Wow, we've been through a lot. We've done a lot in the last 3 days. The last couple of things that I want to show you are how to hide some of these navigations that you aren't going to use. Let's take a look at the syllabus, and then the last thing we'll look at is the template. So with your course syllabus here, you would want to edit and actually place your syllabus in here or copy and paste your syllabus in here. The other thing that you can do is create pages and link those for different sections of your syllabus. What you can't do is change any of this down here. This summary comes in according to any of your assignments that have due dates, which is kind of nice because the students can actually access them from here as well. So there's several different ways your students can get to their different items that are assigned to them. I'm going to take you back out to the dashboard and back into this course, and let's take a look at what the syllabus might look like if you use the several different pages like I just suggested. In this one, we've got About Your Instructor, Course Overview, those are pages, Required Materials, Discussion Post Etiquette. These are all on a different page. But what does the student really need to know? Put that right here, right in their face, okay, which is the grading. That's usually what they want to know, and then where their assignments are. They can at any time open or preview the whole course syllabus by using this preview document. So it's really important that you do fill out the syllabus in this area because it helps the students tremendously. Now let's go back to our dashboard, and we'll go to Tropical Cooking. Oops, wrong course. Island Cooking was the one we wanted. I'm like, how did that homepage get there? We're going to go to Island Cooking, and we're going to import from Commons the course template. Okay, all I need to do is type in the words Carson Newman, and it's the first thing that comes up is the course template. So I'm going to select that. This template may be changing just a little bit. We've had several suggestions, so if it does, you'll look for something that's called New Course Template. But once you pull it up from there, you'll see over here on the right hand side we've got an import or download. So we're going to select that button, and we're going to pull it right into our course. Now you could download that if you want to and keep that file somewhere so that you can just import it into your course anytime without having to go to Commons. And that's probably the better way of doing it, because then you could it doesn't affect your course settings as much as doing it this way does. I'm going to go ahead and import it to Island Cooking and select Import to Course. It says I've successfully started my import, and it does take a couple of minutes. But just to let you know, these are some of the modules that you're going to get. You're going to get a Welcome Begin Here module. These pages, you'll notice all of these are pages, have already been built for you. There's actually 23 different pages available in this template that's already been built. And one of those pages is technology requirements. And you'll be making sure that you give all of your students these requirements because it's very important that they have up-to-date technology to use Canvas. Let's go back to our dashboard and see if our template's been imported into Island Cooking. And we definitely see something's different because this has a picture in it where it didn't before. Whoops. I don't know how I did that. Okay, it's still showing us the page that we created, right? So we need to go into our pages, view all pages, and if we're going to use the template, we need to find home page, and use this front page. So now this one is being used instead of the other one. So now when we select home, the template comes in. The way this is going to work is you'll edit, put your own welcome in there, your own information, select about your instructor, put your own information in here. So we've built a lot of these pages for you. You'll notice that if you select the required materials page, we've incorporated those technology requirements right in there. You just have to edit and put your text and other materials that you might require for your course. It's very important that you go to Settings when you're all done creating your course. Doesn't matter if you use the template or if you've created your own pages, and review the settings. Make sure that your dates are correct here, as well as in sections. Okay, this was one of the first things that we did. So we're going to go into the sections and edit and make sure our dates align with the ones that are on the course details page. If that one's not set, that's going to take precedent over this one, and your course may close early. So make sure you're checking that. Go down through here and make sure things are checked on when the students can see or not see or be in actively in the course. View your grading scheme and make sure that that's correct. This is really wickedly important. Is your course visible to just people in the course? When you pull in the course template from Commons, it automatically turns your course public. So you'll want to make sure that you're selecting course only and update. And then after you've done that, you want to make sure that you go into navigation and turn off any navigation by sliding it down here that you're not going to use. Okay, I don't need my students to see a lot of different things. Everything else there is correct. So I'm going to select Save. Congratulations, you've spent 3 full days, if you've done these parts one day at a time, in learning how to build your Canvas course. And we've really just scratched the surface on the wonderful tools in this program. So stay tuned for more training, and if you have questions, please email odl@cn.edu. That's Office of Distance Learning, odl@cn.edu. Thanks.